You're listening to the Vint Wine Podcast, where you'll hear interviews and stories from around the wine world. From writers and critics to winemakers and sommeliers, we'll explore the people and businesses who are instrumental in shaping wine culture. Enjoy the show.
All right, we are here with 5 questions with Chris Cottrell. Thanks so much for joining.
Thanks for having me.
First question, where are your vineyards located and what varieties do you work with?
Yeah, I'm Chris Cottrell. I am partner and consigliere at Bedrock Wine Company, and I'm co-winemaker and owner of Under the Wire. We have a pretty diverse set of wines we make, and from a pretty diverse set of places. But home base is Sonoma Valley, where we own a vineyard called Bedrock Vineyard, where we named the winery from. And then Morgan and I own 2 vineyards, one in Contra Costa County, so East Bay in California. And then we own a vineyard in Lodi. All 3 of those are from very, very old vines planted between 1888 and 1915. But Sonoma Valley is definitely like where we farm most and produce wine from. Sonoma County is where we farm most and produce wine from. But we also farm a vineyard in Oakville. We also get fruit from a vineyard up in Mendocino for sparkling wine. We make old vine Riesling from San Benito County. We have a pretty diverse set of wines and diverse set of places that we produce those wines from.
If someone has never heard about Bedrock, what would be the first thing you would want a wine enthusiast to know?
Good question. I guess I would say we're a small group of people at the winery that are incredibly dedicated and smart and just lovely human beings who are also fun to work with and are constantly inspiring me and I think each other. And we're producing wines from farmers, whether they be directly us or people that we partner with that are also incredibly dedicated and care deeply about the grapes that they produce. And when that fruit that is worked so hard on, when it comes into the winery, we take our winemaking very seriously and try and be as low interventionist as possible while also being incredibly detailed oriented. And I think would want people to know that we are really focused on a lot of old vines and preservationism and restoring these very, very old vine vineyards that date to the 1880s in some cases. These ancient vines that are living pieces of history is a big focus of what we do at Bedrock. And that includes our regenerative farming practices. But most importantly, I think, is we want to make a delicious wine that provides a lot of value. Another core belief of Morgan and I is to make wines that are affordable and provide a lot of value for what they are. Delicious value wines. I think that's an important thing to do too, while also taking farming and winemaking very seriously, while also showing terroir and place. But yeah, what I said with all the different wines we make, I guarantee you that I can find a few wines in our lineup, no matter what kind of style you typically go for. There's a Bedrock wine that we make that you'll really enjoy.
Perfect. Question 3, what are some regions or wine styles outside of California that inspire you?
It's impossible to pick one. Both Morgan and I just love the diversity of wine and people and places that make wine. For Under the Wire, our sparkling wine project, obviously Champagne, grower Champagne. But then also, I'm really inspired by Pepe Reventos and what he's doing there too. The Northern Rhône for the Syrah we make, obviously, is a huge inspiration. It's you can keep going. Portugal with the field blends, or Chateauneuf de Pape with field blends, because obviously a lot of what we make is these old vine, heritage, single vineyard field blends. So any place that has a field blend is inspiring. Corsica is hugely inspiring. Mediterranean climates that produce wines that still have freshness in them. We actually planted a small Portuguese field blend section at Bedrock Vineyard, being inspired by the wines coming out of Portugal. So yeah, you can go to South Africa, you can travel the world where we're finding inspiration for sure.
Question 4, which vintages have stood out to you in your career and why? And this can be quality wines or like a very difficult vintage, anything that's memorable.
Yeah, I'll give you a few. 2008, the second year of the winery, when Morgan started as a one-man show in a converted chicken coop. That was my first harvest that I worked with him, me and him. We made wine together, and that vintage, I learned so much my first harvest. So 2008 is really special, and the wines are still drinking beautifully today, and a lot of them still have upside. So we don't have a lot of them, but it's always very cool to go back and taste those first wines made in the chicken coop. Then I would say like 2012 and 2013, that's when Morgan and I became business partners, and I moved out here full time. And they were both really great vintages, very different vintages. 2012 being a little more fruit driven, 2013 being a little more structure driven. So tasting those side by sides is really fun right now. And it's interesting how some days I prefer the 2012 Bedrock Heritage more, and some days I prefer 2013 more. So that's a really fun side by side vintage for me. And then 2020 is an incredibly emotional vintage for me because there was the pandemic and all the challenges, both personally and business wise, that we went through. But then on top of that, there were really bad wildfires in California that many of you probably remember. And we made about 50% less wine than we would have normally made because of smoke taint. But we also made a lot of really good wine. And it's a vintage that I'm incredibly honored and proud of the people I get to work with and how much fortitude, and we made really delicious, wonderful wines from an incredible, when the world was literally burning around us and there was a global pandemic. So tasting those wines, the successes that we had in 2020 through that all is very special to me. And then 2023, we call it the Vaquita Vintage, named after a rare California porpoise, because we don't like the term unicorn wine because unicorns don't exist. So we call it the Vaquita Vintage because 2023 is this like long, cool, even had sunshine, but no rain events, but still this extended harvest that just was a beautiful harvest just to exist in because there was like no big heat spikes. And the wines just developed so much flavor and density while still being vibrant. And we joke that it's, but I don't know if it may not even be a joke. I don't know how many more vintages we'll get like 2023 in our lifetime. And I think the wines are going to be some of the best wines we've ever made.
Oh, well, thank you for all of those. Now I want to seek each out and taste them all next to each other, each vintage. The last question is, looking forward, what is on the roadmap for Bedrock?
I think we're in a period of like just continuing to try and get better at what we do, not grow production or anything like that, just continuing to get better at what we do, and that we do a lot of farming. We farm a lot of the vineyards that we work with. So converting to regenerative organic is a big part of our goal. We're certified by the Regenerative Organic Alliance at our home vineyard, Bedrock Vineyard, as certified regenerative. And so continuing to learn about that and improve that at Bedrock, but also take those things we learn and philosophies to other vineyards, and also sharing that knowledge with other people that grow grapes and want to go down that path. I feel like that's really important for not just the quality of our wines, but the environment and the community that surrounds us and the people that work for us. And the other big thing I think I always look forward to is where interns are just starting to work for us now in prep for harvest. And I've always really loved all the people that we get to bring into our world and show them what we do and see what they go off and do in the wine world after they work for us, whether it be full-time or just for an internship. So going forward, I continue to do as much as possible, not just to make our winery successful, but to continue to try and raise the tide for the business as a whole and learn from people and also mentor people. But I'm always looking forward to that. And yeah, I'm just excited to continue to see how our farming of these mostly old vine vineyards impacts the wines. And yeah, there's a lot to look forward to. I guess that's the overall overall theme. There's also a good bottle of wine I'm going to have over the weekend that I'm looking forward to too.
I love that perspective, and I'm looking forward to having more of your wines and seeing where they go.
Thanks.
All right. That was 5 questions with Chris Cottrell.